Happening now, charges are not expected for the woman accused of hitting a 14-year-old bicyclist. The details next. Plus, a local representative is calling for guidance from New York State about college and universities reopening.
Well, it's much more warmer and muggier today. That's going to continue through the end of the week and the weekend, but we've got a little bit of rain to go through. I've got the full forecast next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Police have released more information after a teen was struck by a vehicle yesterday evening on Baker Street near the Jamestown city line. Town of Ellicott police say an 83-year-old woman struck a 14-year-old male who was riding his bicycle on Baker Street Extension near Val Erie Lane just before 6:30. Police say the teen was taken by Celeron Rescue to meet a rescue helicopter at Bergman Park for transport to an Erie, Pennsylvania hospital. Now, officers did not have an update on the teen's condition. However, they say he was alert and speaking with first responders on scene prior to the medevac. Investigators say the driver, an Asheville resident, did not see the youth and struck him. The woman, police say, will not be charged. Now, there was a passenger in her vehicle at the time of the crash, and police say neither the 83-year-old or that passenger were injured in the crash. Well, a Jamestown man accused of trafficking drugs pled guilty to charges in a U.S. federal court yesterday afternoon. The U.S. Attorney's Office tells us that 19-year-old Jacob Graham pleaded guilty to intent to distribute 5 grams or more of actual methamphetamine and possession of a firearm in furtherance of drug trafficking. Graham was originally arrested by the Jamestown Police Department in May 2019 after allegedly fighting with another man and then speeding away in a vehicle. Officers later performed a traffic stop on that vehicle and found a loaded shotgun and the meth. The charges carry a mandatory minimum penalty of 10 years in prison, a maximum of life, and a $5 million fine. Sentencing is scheduled for October. Well, a familiar refrain at recent public demonstrations is defund the police. While critics reduce the call to its simplest form, there's actually a little more to it. Karen Kafa takes a look at how cities are responding to activists and what the movement might mean as lawmakers chart police reform legislation.
With nationwide protests now in a 4th week, the call is very familiar. But defund the police is more nuanced than 3 words and open to some interpretation. The core premise, cutting police funding to varied degrees and putting money into other services to help with things like mental health, homelessness, and education. After the death of George Floyd, the Minneapolis City Council voted to eventually dismantle the city's police department and spend a year looking at a reimagined public safety model.
We have started a lot of the work to help build new systems in our city that are keeping everyone safe. We've looked at every reason that folks call 911. Why are people in Minneapolis calling for help? And we're starting to pair what's the right response to those calls.
In New York, Mayor Bill de Blasio recently announced plans to shift some funding from the nation's largest police force into youth and social services. On Monday, NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea announced the disbanding of the anti-crime unit and the reassignment of 600 plainclothes officers.
I think it was time for a change for a lot of different reasons. I think it goes a long way to building trust in the community.
Police chiefs caution not every city will be the same.
It can't be just one size fits all approach to policing throughout the country. Our victims of crime, specifically violent crimes, need to be supported, and dismantling police departments can't be the answer to that.
Both parties on Capitol Hill have now unveiled legislative proposals. Leaders on both sides,
it's police reform, accountability, and transparency,
seeking reform.
The police have a role to play. What we've got to do is make sure that their role is one that meets the times.
Democrats and Republicans with differences to the approach to resolve, and cities with much to discuss regarding the future of American policing as demonstrators push them to make the most of the moment. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Karen, thank you. Here in Jamestown, Mayor Eddie Sundquist is currently seeking candidates to head the newly established Human Rights Commission. The mayor tells us he has so far received over 60 applications to serve on a board of only 12. As college administrators across New York field calls from students and parents about plans for the fall semester, student housing, and other issues, Senator George Borrello is now urging Governor Andrew Cuomo to immediately release reopening guidelines for colleges and universities. The senator notes that the continuing state of uncertainty is leading many students to consider opting out of this fall semester, upsetting their coursework progression and graduation timelines, and leaving both the colleges and the communities where they're located fearing a major economic impact.
If these kids decide to go away to college, they may never come back. We already have a mass exodus of our residents for a number of reasons from New York State. We already have plenty of our young people that leave New York to go away to college and never come back. We should not be encouraging that by giving them one more reason, and that would be by being able to leave the state for another state where there's a clear plan in place for them to go back to school, and while we in New York State are still in a holding pattern. So that needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
The senator says that businesses across the state have simply been required to develop plans that follow those state guidelines and attest that they will follow them. The most available guidance for college and university requires those institutions to develop and then submit their plans to the state. Senator Borrello says that in the interest of all fairness, colleges and universities should be permitted to follow those same standards as businesses so that they can effectively resume their efforts to recruit and then retain students without potential delays. Well, we thank you all for joining us here for WNY News Now on this Thursday. Certainly warming up out there as we head throughout the day. Got to say hello to Christina. Hopefully they're having a good day. We thank you so much for joining us. Good to see Shar. Good to see Lisa. Good afternoon to Raymond, to Renee, to Scott, to Joseph, to Pam, to Jacob, to Zoe, and to Wendy and Don. Happy Thursday to both of you. Great to see you both join us every day for a look at some local news headlines. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit and get a check of our First Defense weather forecast. That's where we find Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, that shot of yours behind you looks awfully familiar to me.
Yes, it does. I mean, it looks awfully familiar to Justin because you took this picture last night. This is from Justin's palatial estate out in Randolph, and you can see just a cotton candy sky out there, nice and purple and pink. That was a great sky. I mean, I even had a view from the Hunter compound here in Jamestown last night, so that was great. And of course, if you have any pictures or videos of the weather, Hunter's WX on Twitter and also the First Defense weather page on Facebook is how you get us images, and we'll get them on the air. Here's a look from the Lakeside Park Sky Vision camera. More clouds than there were yesterday, and that's going to be a key thing to this forecast for what's coming up. And look at that dew point number. It's back up into the 60s once again. But so far, nothing returning on the radar right now, but we do expect that will be changing as we go through the afternoon with popcorn afternoon showers and storms. They pop up at random times through the afternoon. And again, some of you will get one, some of you will not. 80 was the official high yesterday. 59 was the low this morning. 94 and 34 are the record high and lows for this date set at the Jamestown Airport. So through the afternoon, partly to mostly sunny on average. There will be the chance for a stray pop-up, widely spaced afternoon shower and storm. You know how these things work. They pop up at random times through the afternoon. We're not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to tell you when or where it's going to rain. Warmer, but much muggier. 78 on the hills to 86 near the lakeshore with an east wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. We keep the chance for scattered rain in basically in the forecast through the weekend, but a little bit of a cool down will be on the way later next week. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, an update on the fire that destroyed 2 houses and badly damaged another here in Jamestown. And later, we tell you about a unique weather phenomenon that occurred in Kennedy yesterday. Stay with us as WNY News Now rolls along.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. A Jamestown fire official says investigators looking into an overnight blaze on Thayer Street will likely have a tough time since the building where the fire originated was demolished. Jamestown police believe that the fire was caused by arson, and they're now seeking a suspect. As first reported by WNY News Now yesterday morning, video from the Thayer Street residence security video shows a person approaching the fire scene at around 1:50 in the morning on Wednesday, then running away at around 1:54. Police are now asking for your help in identifying that person. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Jamestown Police Department at 716-483-8477. Now, Police Fire Chief Roger Singular tells us that the fire rapidly spread before crews arrived on scene. The chief says that before the buildings were torn down, investigators were able to document much of the scene. However, because a lot of that property was unstable, they were not able to physically enter inside. Singular says in total 24 firefighters were called there early Wednesday morning. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. Well, Congressman Tom Reed took Governor Andrew Cuomo to task for the high number of nursing home deaths here in New York State related to COVID-19. Reed held a press conference this morning blasting the governor and asking several questions about Cuomo's order to not bar COVID-positive seniors from nursing homes unable to isolate them. He was joined by Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana, who also called out the governor's decision and response to criticism. Reed says the governor's decision had a devastating impact on nursing homes, causing at least 6,200 deaths and possibly double that.
But we estimate potentially as many as twice the number of 6,200 of our grandparents were killed by Governor Cuomo's order in early March, directing that those with coronavirus had to be put back into the nursing home setting. This is a complete failure of leadership. And I will tell you, it's even more egregious because we watched this in real time. I've been dealing with this issue from day one in early March, because we did daily calls with our hospitals, we did daily calls with our health networks, we did daily calls with those facilities that had control and responsibility for nursing homes. And I heard the concern for these people in real time, and no one would listen in Albany in regards to this horrific order.
The congressman says that Cuomo was given prior written notice that his decision could endanger thousands of people, but that there were no responsible leaders making decisions. He says Cuomo tried to deflect by saying he was only following President Trump's guidelines. Well, Jamestown police say the department has already responded to 65 complaints of fireworks here in the city since the beginning of June. Now, last year, the number for the entire month of June was 31 complaints, according to police. The Jamestown Police Department is now reminding the community that the possession and use of fireworks is illegal here in New York. Police say unlawfully dealing with fireworks and dangerous fireworks could potentially lead to charges ranging from a violation all the way up to a Class A misdemeanor. However, changes to New York State law have allowed the sale and possession of sparkling devices. They're allowed here in Chautauqua County and the city of Jamestown, police say. Now, lastly, police are asking the community to leave the fireworks to the professionals and attend displays if they're offered in the area during the upcoming 4th of July holiday. Additionally, police want everyone to just use common sense when using sparkling devices here in Jamestown. Well, this is pretty cool. A WNY News Now viewer had quite the view of a dust devil that occurred a little after 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday. Take a look. The video was sent to us by Connie Witten, and it shows a distinct ground-based rotation near US 62 and Kennedy, visible dust coming up into the sky. Now, our First Defense weather team quickly identified and affirmed that this phenomenon with the National Weather Service, and they say it's a dust devil. Now, they're not that common here in Western New York. Many of them are found in desert locations. They can occur anywhere, though, if dry conditions are just right, along with a light wind aloft and cloudiness in the sky. They are mainly harmless and can generally have wind speeds up to 50 miles per hour or less. Still pretty cool nevertheless, and it's amazing that she was able to get that on video, and we thank you, Connie, for sending it in to us. Of course, you can send us pretty much anything, anytime, whether you do it on Facebook, Twitter, using the hashtag MyLocalWX for weather posts, or you can send it with the hashtag of Local First to get it to us here in the newsroom. Joining us now is Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's going to explain a little bit more about this pretty cool phenomenon. And Dakota, at first, when I saw the video, I kind of thought it was fake at first, but then I realized that that's Kennedy and right across from the store that's there. Yep. And it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it is. And of course, you know, when Andrew and I first saw the video, we both looked at it and went, that's a dust devil. But of course, we confirmed with the National Weather Service that's exactly what it was. And you can see it right there. I mean, these things are very cool to look at. Now they kind of look scary, but they're generally harmless. So let's switch back to Links 1 here, and I'll show you this cool graphic that we came up with. So how do dust devils form? What are they? Well, it actually starts when we have very dry air. Of course, it's been very dry here recently. So with the sun beating down, with not a whole lot of clouds in the sky, the sun's energy is able to sink down into the ground. And so the sunshine heats the ground, as it always does. And when we have light winds aloft up in the sky, not down at the surface, but up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, then ultimately what happens here is because we have a clear sky, the heat from the sunshine is able to go back up into the sky. So that ultimately heats the air back up, makes it a little bit unstable, and we get what's called a low pressure area that starts to develop here. So there's a little area of rotation that actually starts to develop in that area of weak low pressure. So guess what happens at this point? When it starts to rotate, it starts to kick up the dust, and it starts from the ground up. Dust devils don't start from the sky down. That's a tornado. Dust devils start from the ground and work their way up. Now, normally dust devils can extend to be a few hundred feet up into the sky, generally. Some of them can be about 10 feet wide to upwards of 100 feet wide in some of the larger dust devils. They generally don't kill people, although you don't want to drive your car through one unless it needs to be sandblasted, because you know that's exactly what's going to happen to it. And generally wind speeds, as of course Justin mentioned, are generally between 50 miles per hour or less. There can be wind speeds that can exceed 50 miles an hour, but those are relatively rare. And these things are interesting to look at. And we actually get these sometime in summer. Essentially, if you're out in the field and you see hay, and you see hay swirling around, that's definitely a dust devil, and that's a more common sight of a dust devil. And again, seeing these things here, at least seeing the dust kicking up here, is something that we don't see too often here. And that was definitely a sight to see. And I'm sure some people who probably saw that originally might have thought, oh my goodness, that might have been a tornado. Hunter, what are you doing? You didn't predict severe weather today. But it was not. It was actually a dust devil. And of course, if you go out to like Phoenix, Arizona, or somewhere out in the desert, these things happen probably almost daily out there because, of course, of the very dry conditions and the very low humidity. So if the conditions are right, we too can get these things here as well, Justin.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, Dakota. Thank you very much.
All right, so with that, we are going to transition straight into full weather here.
I actually thought that's what you were doing.
Yes.
I'm like, why is he throwing it back to
Yes.
Justin?
Yes, that's what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't sure if you had any
It's
other
okay.
comments to make. So
If you know Dakota, we love him so much. He gets so excited about the weather that I think you get sidetracked a little bit. But that's what we love about you.
I know. But you know what?
We love it.
Yeah, but you know what? We have the format sheets, but sometimes I've been doing weather since the Civil War, guys. So, I forget things. Anyway, here we go. It's been a while since we hit 80. We hit 80 last Wednesday, and we hit it yesterday. So 1 week officially from our last 80-degree high. We were officially there once again. Hey, if you want to get out on the beach, now please understand with swimming and whatnot with the beaches, you need to check with your local authorities because it varies per each region. So before you head out, check with your authorities to make sure beaches are open and you can swim. Water temperature in Lake Erie is 63 degrees today. Right by the water, you'll probably be around 84 degrees today. The UV index is going to be high, so have the sunscreen, and you will be dodging a few rain showers and maybe a few thunderstorms from time to time, but there should be plenty of dry time. Of course, as we've been mentioning, this is becoming an issue. No rainfall still at 0.29 inches, so our rainfall should be at 2.73, so our deficit continues to grow. Our rainfall deficit is close to 2.5 inches for the month, and of course, with the dust devil that occurred yesterday, this is the reason why, because we haven't had a lot of rain to soak the ground. So hopefully, are we going to get anything? Well, not really over the next couple of days. Let's show you a future scan. This is what it's spitting out in terms of rainfall totals today through tomorrow. Insignificant totals. Really, I'd say less than 1/10 of an inch to upwards of 1/4 inch. That's it. I mean, that's not going to really put a dent into our rainfall deficit, and that's going to be through Saturday. And our next meaningful rain is probably not going to be until next week. So here's what's going on. Rexing high pressure is starting to move out, so the low is starting to move back up to our north. So we are going to see a few showers coming our way today and tomorrow, of course, with the humidity that's going to help fuel these. Let's show you feature scan. You can see the model shows you those showers and thunderstorms sparking, but again, the radar is not going to look like this through the afternoon. So again, have the radar handy on your phone, check it often, and obviously head indoors when you hear thunder. So again, those will continue through the afternoon. They'll go to bed after, essentially those will go to bed tonight. After that, it should become partly cloudy. Tomorrow, a repeat, another day of scattered afternoon showers and storms popping up across the region. The chance of anybody getting wet tomorrow is about 1 in 4, about a 40% chance. And then that'll actually continue into Saturday. Live look downtown, you can see the clouds right now, 76 at noon hour, but there's a dew point at 62, so it's feeling more like 78 when you walk outside with the high, of course, with the high amounts of humidity. Zone forecast, inland areas today, you're going to be warmer here, maybe 84 down near Warren, and also, essentially down there, Warren County, 80 in Randolph. More heat, more humidity, chance for an afternoon storm. Now, usually in summer, the Lake Erie shoreline is cooler. Not today because we don't have a wind coming off the lake, so that's not going to cool you off any. Look at Erie, possibly up to 87 degrees. Get up there on the water. Next 7 days of your life that are coming to you in candy vision or cotton candy vision. 82 tomorrow. Also the same on Saturday. We officially start Saturday a little after 5:30 on Saturday as well. Scattered storm chances continue Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But again, Tuesday might be our best chance for any widespread rain around here with a low pressure system tracking close to the area. But that'll also help to bring down the temperatures and the humidity just slightly for mid next week. Justin? Oh, we'll go to break.
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Next weekend is a free fishing weekend here in New York. According to the Department of Environmental Conservation, residents and non-residents alike can fish without a license in all state waters. Officials say the free weekend gives families a chance to enjoy the outdoors and catch fish and get a bit of a break from the current concerns here in our life. DEC officials are urging anglers to take precautions such as social distancing, though. Pretty cool. Can't wait to get out on the water. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, we remind you news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. And when you're on the go, you can stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. All you got to do is search WNY News Now in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Got to say hello to Sean, Justin, Lucas, Brenda, Mary, Aileen joining us, Joseph, Tabby, and Zoe as well. Hopefully all of you are having a great day. We thank you so much for joining us. We are back tomorrow with our TGIF edition, and a special guest from the Girl Scouts of Western New York joins me to talk about a new program to try to get girls excited and engaged in virtual camping this summer. Pretty cool story. We'll hope to see you there tomorrow.